Game 2 of our doubleheader at Klockner Stadium. You are watching ACC Network Extra. Virginia hosts Marist in the first ever meeting between the Cavaliers and Red Foxes on a lacrosse field. Zealand Shannon with national champion Doug Terring. The postseason is nearing, and both of these teams do seem to be in the mix.
Well, we have a game today between two first-place teams. Marist, #1 in the MAC, heading into their conference tournament with a chance to get an automatic qualifier, and Virginia, #1 seed and #1 in the ACC. The face-offs, a key part of every game, and we have two of the nation's best. Peyton Smith, 65%, #5 in the nation in winning percentage. Pete LaSalle, the freshman, 18th in the nation with a 61% winning average. Should be a great battle in the middle.
Keegan Wilkinson marshaling the sideline for Marist, the Red Foxes.
Well, Keegan Wilkinson is not unfamiliar with Coach Tiffany's teams, even though this is the first game between Virginia and Marist. When Coach Tiffany and his staff were at Brown, they played Marist. So he's very familiar with the style of play that Coach Tiffany likes to employ. He's very respectful of the Virginia program. And Marist is very excited in Zealand about this game.
You mentioned his familiarity with Lars Tiffany. Well, Tiffany has done some wonders for Virginia in his first couple of seasons.
Well, the progress from the first year, from the season not getting in the NCAA tournament to getting to the ACC final and qualifying for the NCAA tournament, now being #1 in the ACC. Again, Coach Tiffany has done a great job of building this program in his first 3 years as head coach.
The two sharing a handshake right in front of the scorer's table. The officials today: Michael Highland, Marty Joyner, Derek Murray, and almost as always, Vincent Breedis again in Charlottesville. Spectacular sunshine. The sky is decorated with clouds. We had an excellent first game of our doubleheader, a Virginia 13-10 win in front of a raucous home crowd against Virginia Tech. Now Virginia and Marist, not quite the rivalry that we saw in Game 1, but you expect a good game.
Well, I do, and as I said before in the open, we talked about the importance of this game for these teams, not necessarily in the rankings, even though for Virginia this is an important game, whereas Marist has a chance to qualify as an automatic qualifier. This is an important game in terms of what this game does for each team in getting ready for the tournament. In talking to both coaches, they both felt the same way. This is an excellent game in terms of competition, and they'll learn a lot about their teams. For Virginia, it's a bounce-back game after the Duke loss last week, and for Marist, a chance to play a team that have the quality they think they're going to see if they make the NCAA tournament. So a perfect matchup in a late April game.
Set for the opening face-off. Peyton Smith will be taking it for Marist. Virginia not going with P.D. LaSalle initially because the starting lineup is full of seniors for the Cavaliers. A nice senior day tribute from Lars Tiffany, but it's going to cost him a face-off, you figure? It
certainly could, but you have to thank this senior group. They have brought this team back to national prominence, and again, good effort by Dave Smith, but when you're up against one of the nation's best, that's a tough way to start.
Dave Smith, of course, not a normal face-off taker, not any of the three. All three Virginia face-off men are not seniors. Marist will start its opening possession in the red with the white helmets. Virginia's in white with the orange trunks going left to right.
I expect Marist to control the ball. They're certainly young on attack, and they're going to be looking for goals, and they get an early goal.
Quick tap goal on the back post has the Red Foxes off and running. Sharp passing, and Hudson was caught a bit far forward, but it's tough to make a save with that kind of accurate shooting.
Well, you look to the backside always when you dodge. The slide comes to the crease, and Virginia not able to cover the backside. You can see Virginia is going to make some quick changes, taking Hudson out and putting Alex Rode in the goal, and they're going to put their first face-off group back in there with LaSalle, Ryan Conrad, and Jared Connor.
It's Jake Weinman finding the back of the net for the 23rd time this year. Redshirt sophomore from Blue Point, New York. Back to face-off circle, and P.D. LaSalle does get to go against Smith, but he was a little too eager for the matchup. That's a violation on LaSalle.
Well, you certainly don't want a violation in the first minute of the game because you only have 2 for the rest of the half before you have to serve the 30-second foul. So, again, LaSalle fully aware of the competition he's going to get today from Smith.
Hunter Embry to slow it down. Smith, a game changer for Marist, and probably the #1 reason the Red Foxes have a chance coming into Klockner for the first time.
They really do. They have a lot of confidence. They feel good about their opportunity today, and I expect them to play extremely hard all day and look as this is a game to get ready for their MAC tournament.
Jamison Embry, shot blocked away by Cade Sousted. It's gone flying out of play and will go to Virginia.
Good anticipation by Jared Connor. Read the shot. The shot usually from the wing is a much tougher one to back up than over the end line. And Jared Connor won the race to the sideline and gets Virginia their first possession of the game.
Virginia's made the change. Rode has found his way to the goal. Hudson, the senior goalkeeper, headed to the bench for the Cavaliers as the normal lineup gets back out there and the game gets really officially underway after the senior day festivities. But it cost Virginia 1 goal, 1-0.
Well, we talk about a team strength other than Smith at the faceoff X. It's the defense for Marist. 3 senior defensemen. They are very comfortable in the 6-on-6. They would much rather take away transition for Virginia and make them attack a very good half-field defense, both with poles and short sticks, and the experienced goalie McGregor.
Shoveled to Moore on the far side of the field. Conrad muscles his way into the middle of the park. Just under 30 to shoot. Conrad winding up for something, made it a pass to the near post. Bobbled and collected by Pisani under duress.
And again, Michael Krause not suited up and playing today for the second game after the injury before the Duke game.
Dropped by Conrad and a scramble for the ground ball. Just 10 seconds left. This is where Virginia can shine, but Marist has really tied him up. 5 seconds to shoot. Pisani off the post. Great look by Conrad.
And you are going to get the reset if Virginia's able to pick up the ground ball.
It is picked up by Pisani, and he bounces to the outside, draws a flag on his way.
Big moment for the senior Pisani, who has certainly gotten playing time, had a chance to finish. McGregor makes the big save, but Virginia able to extend the possession with a ground ball and back to 65 seconds with the shot clock.
It was just his 3rd shot of the season and 2nd ground ball loss in Pisani, but he looks like he belongs certainly with the experience in the program. Lamb with a quick fire shot that nearly took our cameraman off the lift. Slipped out of his stick. Obviously won't reset the shot clock. We stay at 53 seconds for Virginia to let one go as a wave of changes comes. Conrad off, Lamb off, Pisani off.
Well, you bring in Ian Laviano, who normally starts on the attack with Matt Moore, and in this case, Mikey Herring. But we're going to see Xander Dixon, who had 6 against VMI, really had an impressive outing. And they've liked him all along. He's been getting more and more playing time each game. So he's going to add an extra short stick attackman into the midfield look.
Moore.
Looks like Marist is going to play some zone. Yes, they're going to go ahead and force Virginia to beat the zone from the outside.
No look pass to the far side for Dixon. He caught it but had no option. Doc Sakin draws a defender, and Jack Peel finds the far side netting. 1-1.
Well, that's an important spot for Jack Peel. Michael Krause is normally the lefty on that offense, particularly when they play zone. He is the left-handed shooter, and Jack Peel, taking his play, scores on the first shot he gets of the game. And again, interesting that Marist comes out in zone. They must feel that that's a defense that they can keep Virginia from getting one-on-one matchups.
Kept Virginia from getting one-on-one matchups, but overcompensated trying to shut down the shooting angles and gave Jack Peel his 2nd goal of the season. Promptly took advantage. You talk about players that are getting more looks. Jack Peel has really come on in the back half.
He really has, and again, for Virginia, its depth and numbers are so important at the end of the year. It's going to get hot. They may have to be playing, tournament games, so you want depth going into the end of the season.
Didi LaSala has won the faceoff and will shovel it back to Will Rock for control. And the first time we've seen Smith and LaSala get a clean face-off in, and it goes to P.D. LaSala for Virginia.
And that's important for LaSala to win that face-off, because obviously that first violation, you don't want to get in the habit of losing face-off because you're a little bit worried about committing a foul.
Virginia able to make all of its changes, the last of which brings in Jack Simmons with 60 seconds left in the possession. Simmons attacking with the intent to pass. Mikey Herring lingering behind the goal.
Have to be impressed with the physical size of the Marist defense. Everybody over 200. An impressive group of senior defensemen. It's one of the top groups in the country.
Moore harassed by JT Rozelle. Appeals for a hold, not given. Rozelle kept it clean on Moore. Inside 25 to shoot. Simmons. Amarato pushes him off to the left. Simmons from distance was hit by Amarato for his trouble, and he missed. 15 seconds to shoot.
Yeah, excellent defense by Marist on the ball. Everybody asking for a foul, but that was just good, tough one-on-one defense.
Single digits on the shot clock. Herring looking to pass. Will go up top. Snatched by Conrad, but he was just knocking it down for Marist. It's been popped back for Virginia. Snagged by Pisani, and he scores. Lawson Pisani on senior day.
Well, that's unfortunate for Marist because they got Virginia in a situation where the ball was on the ground. It looked like they were going to be able to get the shot clock violation. They pick it up, get it checked loose. Virginia picks it right back up, and Pisani scores unsettled.
It's Matthew Seltz, the senior for Marist, that picked the ball up and then lost it again. Marist has already had its senior day. Seltz part of those festivities, but a frustrating moment for him. He possessed it just long enough to give Virginia the new chance.
Well, that's the thing with the 80-second clock is if you pick it up in your defensive end, you really need to get it out and get it up the field. If you get it taken away, you have to start all over again, and they were just not settled on defense to stop Pisani.
Virginia's got the face-off Will Rock to thank as Smith was starting to dig it out towards the Marist goal. Virginia's leveled the face-off numbers at 2 apiece early on in the first quarter. Marist looked good on offense, but Virginia seems content to just not give the Red Foxes a chance.
Well, it'll be interesting again. As long as Marist is in the game in terms of the score, they're going to stay in the zone. They seem to be very comfortable with it. They've got good defenders. Their poles are outstanding, and they've got 2 good short sticks. So, not a bad defensive strategy for Coach Wilkinson to play Virginia in the zone.
Herring trailed behind by Summer. Doc Zakin thought about a long one, brings it to his left, swimming through the middle. How in the world Doc Zakin finds the back of the net in a crowd of Red Foxes 3-1.
Well, Doc Zakin adds to his all-time leading scorer total with 96 goals as a midfielder, still a junior. And one thing about the zone is if you beat the first man and the slide comes late, then you can pretty much beat the whole zone. So he got inside the zone. The backer who normally would come and double wasn't there in time, and Doc Zakin was able just to strength his way through for a shot right off the top of McGregor. So important for the zone for Marist to keep Virginia on the perimeter.
Timeout called on the field with 9:12 left in the first half. Marist, after taking a 1-0 lead on the Weinman goal, has been overrun a little bit. Virginia has gotten offensive possessions, a few in a row, and has been able to convert on each one of them. Well,
you make a decision during the week that you're going to play a particular kind of defense, and you practice it, and you prepare your team to do it. But sometimes it's not necessarily what you prepare, but the opponent that you see, you not necessarily can be able to duplicate. And right now, Virginia seems to be very comfortable playing against the zone, getting dodges from the top, and also passes through the wing. So it'll be interesting to see if Coach Wilkinson stays with the zone, may make an adjustment, or if he decides to come out and go man-to-man.
Mentioned Doc Zakin, and he's adding to a record he's already claimed, a very old record, the Virginia midfield goal-scoring record. And Doc's now just 4 from 100.
Well, he really is. And again, it's hard to believe that he's only a junior when you think of his goal totals coming right out as the top recruit in the freshman class 2 years ago when he came out of Haverford High School. So he has been everything that certainly Virginia hoped he would be, and he's only added to his totals of goal scoring and is really one of the top candidates to be a first-team All-American midfielder.
Can't think of too many more midfielders in the country that could claim to be head and shoulders above a Doc Zakin. And one of the main reasons that Virginia is a huge threat on the national scene, Keegan Wilkinson's trying to raise Marist up to a similar level.
Well, you can see having a quick coaches meeting with his assistants right there. Again, you come in with your game plan. You feel like this is what is best for your team and the way you can be successful. And you have to wonder after the quick timeout whether they feel like they maybe need to make a change, whether how they defend in the zone or whether they decide to go back to man-to-man.
We're also hoping to get a face-off from Peyton Smith, dug in against Petey LaSalla. And Peyton Smith has this one dead to rights, trapped it on the ground.
Well, what you can see how good these two face-off men are. Very little wing play with these two. It's going to be quick wins one way or the other all day.
And Peyton Smith won the ball but lost the possession, threw it away, trying to work it near side. Virginia, almost as if it's won the face-off, will settle into an offensive possession.
Well, interesting stat. Marist is, in terms of national rankings, is fairly low in terms of successful clearing, only 80%, which is a low percentage, and yet they give up in terms of clears over 92%.
Snap pass to the middle. Aviano bounced back out by the size of Billy Andrell. Herring back for Connor. Back to Herring.
Looks like they're staying with the zone.
Leaving Connor by his lonesome behind the goal. Moore tried to dodge through, but he was tied up by Seltz. Under 30 to shoot. Maloney.
Good stick right there.
Didn't come out of his stick right. The defense was waiting.
It down.
Sirocco.
Yeah, that's what Marist is going to want to do. They're going to want to go ahead and see if they can get their stick in the passing lanes, which they did a great job of right there. And you know, one thing about the zone is you are in an area and you've got to win the ground ball in your area. And I think that's one of the things that looks like they're going to play it a little more aggressively. They're not going to let Virginia have quite the same comfortable ability to pass around the perimeter.
More active sticks out of the timeout. Perhaps Keegan Wilkinson and his staff reminding the team to try and clog shooting passing lanes. Let go by JoJo Pereka, but it's wide.
There's no question that Marist has the ability to score goals, even though they have a young group on attack. Starting a couple freshmen who have impressive stats.
Across, tapped home. 2 for 2, Weinman. 3-2 Virginia. And those are some easy ones to score, Jake Weinman.
Well, that's the same goal they scored on the first one. You drive down the alley and you get that backside look. Perfect positioning by Weinman.
Redshirt sophomore Jake Weinman, the leading goal scorer for Marist. He was an all-rookie team member in the MAC last year. He's a difference maker.
Well, he is, and he came in with 22 goals and 7 assists. Now he's up to 24 goals. Talking to Coach Tiffany, he said he's a very effective finisher with a left hand. No sophomore slump for Weinman. He has the 2 shots, 2 goals, both the same play, backside looks and finishes.
That's what's kept the Red Foxes in touch through the first quarter. That a 3-2 face-off lead. LaSala and Smith battling. LaSala digs it out first and a tap back to Conrad.
Well, that's maybe where Virginia will have the advantage is the wing play with Conrad.
Conrad trying to go all the way, and he can. Ryan Conrad. I found the name eventually. He put it in the top shelf, though, I can tell you.
Well, we talk about Ryan Conrad, who I have said before is the best wing face-off man in the country, picking up ground balls. He's able to pick it up and carry it again. The one thing about the zone is you beat the zone because they did not look like they were in their spots. They weren't settled, and Ryan just took advantage of it and just went right through the first defender, cleared his hands. You can see just late on the slide for Marist.
14th goal of the season for Ryan Conrad. You can see the look in his eyes. He slowly picked up steam from the center circle. He knew that opportunity was going to present itself if he made the right move.
Well, he came out of Loyola High School as one of the very best athletes in the history of that school. Was a point guard on the basketball team and also the leading scorer on their soccer team. So he came in with all the tools to be a great lacrosse player besides with the skills he brought.
Another win for Petey LaSala against Peyton Smith, and Teo Dole's the man that secured it. Shot for more right from the shooter pocket, and a breakdown for the Marist defense.
Yeah, you can just see the Marist defense kind of talking to each other, just not sure exactly who's supposed to pick up the ball. And we've seen that before with Matt Moore. When that right-hand shooter's wing, if you don't get to his hands early, he's going to bury it, and he did from about 12 yards.
It was Dole that got it started. Moore that finishes it off. 32nd goal of the season for him. He's shooting over 33%.
And we've talked about Theo Dahl and his improvement. Coach Tiffany's so excited. A senior who has worked hard, earned his time, and now he and Jared Connor make 2 very, very effective for Virginia long stick poles on that face-off wing.
Theo Dole will sit this face-off out. LaSala and Smith back to the center circle. The only clean win that Smith has, he threw away moments later. So it's been Virginia getting the free possessions. Another battle. Smith had it dead to rights for a moment, but it goes to Jared Connors of Virginia. Forced backwards, and remember, you have to get it over in 20 seconds.
Well, as I said before, riding is not something in terms of statistics that's a strength for Marist, and I think part of it is because they are probably not going to want to spread out the field and get too extended at the midline and the attack end. They want to go ahead and set into their defense.
Even without overextending, Virginia's been able to take advantage of quick openings to score the last 2 goals.
Yeah, Virginia has seen enough zones this year. I think they're comfortable with their formations from offensive corner Sean Corwin. He's done a nice job of giving them different looks.
Held up by Peel to allow Xander Dixon to traipse on. You mentioned briefly the fact that he scored 6 goals against VMI. It was nothing short of unstoppable. A dominant win for Virginia here at home, continuing to control the Commonwealth. Moore inside 20 seconds to shoot, and the Marist defense has settled back down.
Yeah, Algrim does a nice job. They've moved him to the top of the zone. Looks like number 7. He did a nice job. Again, the middleman has got to control the flow of the ball. He's got to push the ball side to side.
Moore pass to Herring. A 180 and finish for Mikey Herring. A walk in the park to put Virginia up 6-2. That was with 3 seconds left on the shot clock.
Well, when you get inside 5 seconds, the defense has to go ahead and put pressure on the ball, and you try an over-the-head check, and you can see right there, you miss that check, and you give Virginia an easy look to the backside.
Herring perfectly oriented, knew exactly where to go with the ball, and there's a reason he's shooting over 50% for the year. He's shooting over 70% for the year. When he takes a shot, it's right next to the goal, and he has it pinned.
Well, so many of his goals are assisted, and that's because he puts himself in a good spot, and that's because his teammates see and have confidence in him. That's how he scored that winning goal against Syracuse, by putting himself in a good place in overtime.
LaSala's won another face-off against Peyton Smith, and LaSala looking like he wants to go, saved confidently by Jake McGregor.
That's a big save for McGregor right there. Just give him some confidence. He's had some tough early shots on him, not much opportunity to make saves, get into a rhythm. So that's a big save right there.
Where the Marist ride is not massively significant, Virginia's is, and it's well handled on a beautiful cross-field pass to Weinman.
Yeah, good preparation. You can see right away where Marist knew to make the look with a 10-man. They put an attackman in a position where Alex Rode has to be the rider, and if you put him wide enough in the alley, it puts Alex Rode in a tough spot. If he comes too far, it's an open goal.
Marist with 40 to work on the offensive end. Hunter Embry forced around. He's trying to dig into Jama, but that's no easy task. Strong defense from Marist in this game, and now from Virginia. Michael Smith with nowhere to go. Hunter Embry behind the back. Nothing open for the Red Foxes. 12 seconds to shoot. Jamison Embry is going to be bumped around by Sousted, out to a shot. Rode saved it up over the goal. It danced on top of the crossbar, and it's put back in the crease. Looked like Rode was going to have it comfortably, but he now has it uncomfortably.
Well, I thought Marist did a great job of moving the ball. They got the shot they wanted from about 12 yards. It was that extra pass that gave them an open look from about 12 to 15, and Rode makes the save.
Keegan Wilkinson's beside himself, upset about something in that wild exchange. Virginia has 3 seconds to get over the line, and it might just not do it. Conrad held up. Strong play from Seltz to body Conrad so he couldn't turn.
You talk about stats lying a little bit. Marist not coming in with a high percentage of turnovers in their riding, and of course Virginia considered one of the best clearing teams in the country, and give them credit. They were able to get Virginia turned over in the middle of the field, getting a quick turnaround and getting their offense back on the field.
And as a result of that stat, you perhaps don't spend as much time clearing the ball, and Schlarpick headed the other direction, has the Red Foxes back in the red. 6-3, answering a 3-goal Virginia run.
Well, all 3 of the goals from Marist have been initiated from the left side, and again, what they like to do is push that corner. If Virginia has slides, they look for Weinman on the backside. In that case, Schlarpick came all the way through and finished. So you give Marist an opportunity to handle the ball, it looks like they can score goals.
Schlarpick, the individual run, angle not taken away, like you mentioned, and he knows how to put it in the back of the net. It's his 10th for the year. Losala and Smith. Smith has gotten the better of the face-off. The momentum helping the prolific Red Foxes face-off man.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that kind of battle, as I said at the beginning of the broadcast, all day. Both face-off men are capable of winning clean face-offs. If Marist is going to get back in this game and make a little bit of a run, it's going to be Smith who's going to get it started.
2:35 to play in the first quarter. As Tierney tries to get something towards the goal. Virginia not afraid to contest far out.
Well, you have two different defensive philosophies: man-to-man, early slides, as opposed to playing to seeing a zone. Virginia rarely, if ever, will play zone.
Gagne funneled around. Still time to work for Marist. Pareka tried to slip to his left hand. Ended up just slipping in general.
Yeah, Virginia's going to be sliding early on that wing dodge now.
Low shot, shoveled wide by Weinman. It was a creative look. 18 to shoot. It didn't reset the clock.
Yeah, you can see why he is so effective off the ball. That's the third good look he's had today. 2 goals and a really good opportunity to get 3.
Lyons has to pick it out of the sky. Will be working against Teo Dole. Dole is screened off. Lyons sent back by Smith. 4 to shoot, and Marist might just eat this chance. Could throw it away and look to defend.
Yeah, that's a smart play right there. You take a bad shot and it has no power on it. You let it essentially land in the goalie stick, and you're looking at a quick clear going the other way. So smart play by Marist right there, just to go ahead and throw it over the end line and make Virginia carry.
We're able to force a turnover on the last Virginia clear attempt. Southstead has it knocked away again.
Here for the second time, they've been able to pin Virginia on the sideline and get a one-on-one ride with an attackman and a pole. And timeout Virginia. Can't be happy with the way Virginia's clearing the ball.
Jojo Pareka, the man that was able to dispossess Southstead, his 4th caused turnover of the season. And you can hear the contact stick to stick up here. It was very clean.
Well, that's the perfect check on a pole is to go for that bottom end or for the low part of the pole, the butt end, because the ball is going to pop out. And when you get a player on the sideline, that's exactly what's going to happen. Interesting ride concepts between both teams. Virginia press ride, lots of chase, tries to go ahead and use the whole field, whereas Marist tends to ride deep, pull everybody back close to the midline, and short the field.
The longer this game stays close, with Marist being able to force it into the second and into the third quarter here at Klockner, Michael Krause is still not available. He's missed the Duke game, which Virginia lost. He missed the VMI game, which Virginia was able to win comfortably. But not having Krause, how much does that hurt Virginia?
Well, I think the thing that Virginia now has had time to adjust to play without him. Of course, he got hurt right before the Duke game. It puts them in a tough position as far as practicing. You know, VMI didn't obviously give them much of a chance to play the first group they were out in the first quarter. So this is the first game they've really been tested without Michael Krause, and Pisani and Mike Herring have all picked up the slack so far today, each scoring goals.
You wonder if he will be back in time for ACC tournament time, which Virginia will be the #1 seed in.
Well, that's only the hope. It's been 2 weeks, which is a normal time for an ankle sprain if it's not too bad. But, you know, caution at this point is most important. If he twists that ankle anytime between now and next weekend, he probably would not be able to play in the ACC tournament.
So perhaps, and hopefully on the Virginia side, a precautionary measure to have him rest on senior day. He has 1 bright year left in his career.
And Virginia certainly is not lacking in the ability to find, you know, some effective players to take his spot. I mean, he has a certain skill set that the other players may not have, but as I said, Pisani with a big goal early, and then Mikey Herring with 1 as well. So, you know, Virginia's had time to make the adjustments without Michael Krause with a week of practice.
Final 70 seconds, almost perfectly in sync with the shot clock for Marist. The Red Foxes can hold for the last shot, and Virginia will almost certainly have the lead at the end of the first quarter. But Marist is going to try and put a couple of goals on a string.
Well, these are the situations that teams practice, you know, end of quarter, when you have, you know, the whole time to hold the ball. That's a long time for Marist to be able to set up their play. So it's a little bit like a basketball game where you kind of dribble outside the key in order to start your play. And so they'll probably wait till about 20 seconds to make sure that Virginia doesn't get a chance to get a fast break or a transition goal if they go inside 15 or 20.
Dave Smith forcing Chris Schlappick to work at least as we get to the final 25 seconds.
Again, most of their initiations are dodges against the short sticks, down the pipes, looking for the slide from the crease, trying to get the ball through to the backside.
Michael Smith getting inside John Fox. 8 seconds to shoot. The ball was dropped at the crucial moment by Hunter Embry. Is there going to be a long shot in store for Virginia or Marist? It looks like neither. Thrown towards the goal without consequence. 6-3, the end of the first.
Well, I'm sure Marist disappointed. They had their play all set. You could see they were ready to make that extra pass, and they get the drop from Embry, and of course at that point, no chance they got a shot.
We'll be back in Charlottesville on ACC Network Extra. We welcome you back to Klockner Stadium. The first quarter is in the books. Virginia 6, Marist 3. And boy, Marist has a secret weapon with it today. The ride. They
really have, and the low percentages that they came in with in their other games have kind of been turned over with 2 Virginia turnovers that caused actually Coach Tiffany to call a timeout. And clearing is such a key now with the 80-second clock. If you're not able to get the ball up and out, the 80-second clock on resets means you got to play a lot of defense.
Back to the face-offs, and we did a little math in the break. LaSalle versus Smith without violations. It's 6-2 to LaSalle right now. Both trying to dig it out. Petey LaSalle with a slight advantage, and Peyton Smith got an excellent touch to allow Marist to roll towards the Virginia goal. This is getting hazardous for the Cavaliers, and the Red Foxes have won the face-off eventually. Seltz.
First prolonged face-off that we've had where the ball's already has not been won cleanly and gotten into the into a box, and it's been won by Marist, so that will count as a face-off win for Marist.
Weinman slows it down, and James Lyons will orchestrate from the top. Tierney throws it over the X. Jamison Embry wasn't tall enough, and it's right back to Virginia. An unnecessary giveaway, throwing and catching.
Well, that might have been an air ball because we have a lot of wind here today.
Caught in the wind as Virginia breaks through the Marist ride for the first time in 3 tries, and we have a flag sailing into the air on the far side of the field.
Yes, looks like the attackman went offside. He's going to run down and play 7 against 6. You can't be offsides twice, so Marist is obviously going to try to get the ball on the ground and then play man down. But, you know, because of the deep ride Marist is using, they are taking a little bit of a risk trying to pick up Virginia so close to the midline, and that's what happened. Their attackman steps over.
Hard to stay honest when you're in the heat of the competition. Peel back for Herring. Virginia is going to have to find a way through. An extra defender in this situation, and Doc Sakins dropped the ball, picked up by Marist to trigger the official penalty call.
And if we're going to talk about an area where Virginia has struggled this year, it has been in the man up. That's a place they have not been able to effectively score. A little bit of a change now without Michael Krause. So we are going to have a little bit of a different look and different personnel. But this is so important as you get into, for both teams, how you defend and how you execute on man up. You don't get a lot of penalties in tournament play normally, so you've got to be able to take advantage of the ones that you get.
For Virginia, it's Herring, Laviano, Xander Dixon, Conrad, Peel, and Moore. On to Peel, shoots and scores! What a take by Jack Peel, top shelf far side.
Well, you look at the passing sequence right there that led to the open shot for Peel. You get what they call the one more pass. Virginia, quick kind of a tic-tac-toe look from Conrad right there over to Moore to Peel. Peel able to step in before the defense can get to his hands, and that's the way you want to play man up. You want to take advantage of the gaps and attack with your feet and your stick.
Decisive from Peel. The extra man makes the difference, as he so often does, and Peel has a couple.
And again, the fourth thing for Peel to score, that's the spot that Michael Krause occupies on the man up. So important that they get a left-handed finish.
Looked like Marist should have had this one for a while, but the prolonged battle, second in a row, goes to Corey Harris of Virginia. Virginia looking to go quickly. Moore spins against one, not two. What a save! My goodness, a leg from McGregor. Might have got it with the spikes of his shoe. But Virginia's ride, relentless. Laviano jumped on the back of Matt Seltz.
Yeah, you can see 3 Cavaliers around Seltz, but you know, in a scrum like that, sometimes you do get that push call, and so Virginia, unfortunately for them, is not able to take advantage of the triple team.
But back to the save by McGregor to keep Marist in touch.
Great save, because the shot was in perfect placement, off stick side low, and McGregor was, as you said, was able to stick his foot out, but more importantly, was able to control the loose ball in his crease area.
Jama checking Schlappick.
And Marist again tending to run their offense, an angle dodge down the wing, trying to pull that slide from the crease.
Michael Smith turns and shoots. Rode on the tight angle, a save he would have been frustrated if he couldn't make. And Jama will carry it clear. The shots rested 12-8 in favor of Virginia, as well as the scoreboard 7-3.
And McGregor settled in nicely. Had a tough start with some of those early shots right on top of him, but he's had a couple of nice saves. Again, for a goalie, you like to get into the rhythm of the game, and that last save was spectacular.
Moore really has brought his A game when it comes to shooting the ball. Got away from 2 defenders before letting the last one go, and a no-look pass opened an angle for Peel for a moment. Doc Sakin to Peel. Back to the middle. Laviano had it poked away. Active sticks because Laviano had a lane towards the goal. What a ground ball by Ian Laviano. Now Herring's in front, and it's stopped.
Now you're going to have a flag. Looks like looks like a high hit possibly. You have both officials threw their flags simultaneously.
Well, something toppled Mikey Herring right in front of the face of the goal.
Yeah, he catches and turns and takes a high hit. You can see right there, yes, definitely above the head and shoulders. We'll see whether they decide to make it a 1 or a 2 minute foul with no release.
6'3", 200 pounds of Ralph Summer right in the back of the head.
Now we get a cross check. You know, anytime you lead with the handle and you with your hands forward, you're going to get a cross check. And again, it's a situation Mikey Herring was kind of ducking down, and the defender was already committed to the slide.
The number 16 in the country has a man up again. Cavaliers have converted.
See if they run the same kind of...
Nope, just Doc Sakin right from the spot up top. He saw an opening as Marist was already over helping and took advantage.
Yeah, that's the best play you can run, the one pass and bang from 15. But, you know, always tough for an extra man defense to extend too far to leave something open on the inside, and you have to give up the outside shot, and Doc Sakin was able just to go ahead, and you can see they were late getting to him. There should have been probably a slide over from that wing, and nobody got to Aiken, and he was able to convert.
Xander Dixon will get credit for the assist. Doc Sakin, first to 2 goals for Virginia, joins Weinman of Marist in that category. Cavaliers, well, Jack Peel, pardon me, also has 2, but Virginia spread the scoring out significantly. Battle for the face-off. Smith was able to drive it into the Virginia third, but then it was whipped away by Cade Sousted. Ryan Conrad has it dead to rights, and he's into the attacking third. What a pass to Petey LaSalla. Bit of a gamble, but LaSalla's collected.
Well, you know, Virginia not realizing they're going to be attacking a set defense in the zone is going to try to push the ball before the zone can get organized.
Hidden ball trick. Laviano scores it. Far side. Marist bit Laviano from some distance, but nobody was paying attention.
You know, you can see that from here that probably the defense didn't see it, but again, the whole time it was Laviano, and it looked like, again, sometimes when you're backing up, you lose sight of the ball, and it looked like that's exactly what happened. It was just, you can see right there, you've got the little bit of carry across LaSalla, and the whole time Laviano's got the ball.
I believe it was Conrad that was pretending to drive right into the middle.
Right, saw the 20, and
that was one or the other.
So, well, 2 wily veterans, you know, running the hidden ball trick. But when it comes out of transition, it's awfully difficult for the defense sometimes to pick it up.
Very heads-up play for the Cavaliers to conjure that out of thin air, and now the faceoffs seem to be following the momentum of the game. LaSalla drives it into the Marist third of the field, well corralled by Sirocco. But Sirocco is going to be forced to chuck it opposite. He ran out of options, really.
Right, he got double teamed, and Virginia took away the near men pass, took away the goalie McGregor. So really no option except to throw the ball across the field and have it go out of bounds.
9:48 to go in the first half, and Virginia, with 3 goals to no reply from Marist, has started to pull away.
And we have another flag down. Could be either illegal substitution.
The Red Foxes not helping themselves. Keegan Wilkinson's been roaming the sideline for Marist, trying to rally the troops. Moore bounced back, trying to get his right hand open, but the slide shuts it down. Moore will shoot, saved by McGregor, and that will launch us into the extra man opportunity. But McGregor has certainly shown up in the second quarter.
He really has, and you know, one of the goals that he really took away from Matt Moore was a spectacular kick save to his left.
You hesitate to think where Marist might be without McGregor between the pipes. That probably the easiest save he's had.
Right.
And 30 seconds up on the board, they got Weinman.
Yeah, illegal procedure usually means some kind of substitution violation or too many men, but something that Marist certainly doesn't need is to play man down again. Their defense has got to be losing their legs a little bit. They've played defense almost the entire first half, and we still have 8.5 minutes to go.
Virginia knowing that, patient with the ball. Conrad back to Xander Dixon, elevated shot. Tough angle to score from.
Yeah, another step above the pipe, but because of the success that Xander Dixon had against VMI, they obviously feel like he's someone that they can put in the extra man.
Soft hand, Xander Dixon. Moore's bounce shot seen away by McGregor.
And effective enough defense for Marist to go ahead and have the penalty run out, and we'll play all even.
Marist able to kill one off. Virginia still with 45 seconds to put something on target. Content to take its time. Ryan Conrad on to Moore, keeps it moving, back to Dixon, bounces to Peel. It's waved off.
In the crease. Unfortunately, the follow through looks like Herring stepped in the crease trying to catch the feed. So quick turnover, and we'll see if Marist can get the ball on offense and get a little bit settled, give them a chance to, and then they, unfortunately for them, turn it over. So it's got to be tough for the defense to look down there and not be able to get any rest.
A couple of unforced errors have really hampered Marist going into this second quarter. The offensive possessions in the first quarter, Marist was able to take advantage, use some clock, and find a goal, but it hasn't been the same.
You can just tell when they had the ball and they were able to get into their sets. They certainly have got sticks and ability to score goals. They just have had very little, if any, possession time. And right there, the zone is effective, forcing Matt Moore to turn it over.
Tried to roll to his left hand and lost the ball. But the ball out of play does allow Virginia to set up.
Yeah, Sirocco did a nice job of just getting his stick in the hands. And now Virginia with their pressure ride, forcing McGregor to have to handle the ball under pressure.
As well played by Greco to pin a stick and let it roll into the Virginia half, but Marist with some toughness able to secure it.
Yeah, that's a tough way to get a clear, is having to throw the ball down there and then win a ground ball. They were fortunate to win it, but that's what Virginia's trying to do. They're trying to push their ride up the field, try to get you to make that long pass in the middle of the field, and then try to jump and turn it over.
James Lyons off to Tierney. And Tierney has thrown it back towards Lyons, but bounced it to him, and another turnover by Marist, looking rattled on offense.
Well, they're rushing, and their feeling is, again, because of the score, feeling like they have to score quickly. And you know, if I was Marist, again, just a settled possession would mean so much to their defense and their goaltender.
That defense is back to work. Doc Sakin, no particular rush. Virginia has a feeling it can get a decent shot in about 20 seconds.
Well, they're playing at about 12 to 15. So, again, Virginia's going to get a chance to handle the ball cleanly. It's just a question of whether the defense can slide quickly enough to get to the shooters.
There goes Moore, but he whipped it wide. Every guy catching it up top is pumping a shot and then making their move.
Well, Virginia's doing a nice job of running through the first defender in the zone. You know, to beat a zone, you have to dodge. You have to move your feet, and they're doing a nice job. And right there, the zone was perfectly positioned to get a pass and knock the ball down.
Ralph Sommer took it away, but then threw it away. And Virginia back in possession with a reset shot clock to boot. Turnovers mounting for the Marist Red Foxes. Quick ball in front and polished off by Jeff Connor, the freshman.
And that's just probably a tired defensive goal for Virginia right now. We've lead 3 straight turnovers where Marist has not even been able to get the ball under control. And
Cavaliers rolling, 4 goals already in the second quarter in Charlottesville. The wind has been steady all day long at Faulkner Stadium, and it has blown Virginia out front 10-3. Marist scored the opening goal of the game, but Virginia has taken a couple of big chunks out of the Red Foxes. The most recent, 4 goals to no reply in the second quarter. What do you make of this game so far?
Well, it's all about Virginia's shooting percentage. They've scored 10 goals on 14 shots on goal and a total of 20 shots. There's been some games this year where Virginia has not shot the ball well. Against Carolina, for instance, in the first half, they outshot Carolina by a wide margin, over 30 shots in the first half and only 3 goals. So you have to look at the percentages, and obviously that has a lot to do with where the shots are coming from, and Virginia's getting a lot of shots inside that zone defense.
2 goal scorers, Jack Peel and Doc Sakin, both have their 2 goals on just 2 shots. Weinman has 2, and then Schlappick scored the last goal for Marist as he gets stuck into the next face-off, and it's won by Justin Schwenk going out there for Virginia. And if Justin Schwenk is able to beat Peyton Smith, that's disheartening for Marist.
Well, it is, and again, if you're Marist, you're looking for some kind of a way to get the ball to your offense. They've shown they could score when they had the possession, but they've only had, it looks like so far, 8 shots in 25 minutes, and that's not a way to win a game.
Schwenk, Virginia's number 2 faceoff man, but he's over 40% as well. LaSala, though, over 60%. Schwenk is no slouch. He was the guy last year, passed through the middle from Conrad. He is intercepted and picked up with a vengeance by James Sirocco.
Excellent stick work right there. The passing lane was closed, and he took advantage of it.
Sirocco affected by Conrad as he let the shot go. He wanted to go all the way home.
Yeah, I think he's trying to send a message to his offense and go, I'm going to get a goal for us. And, yeah, that's an end-to-end rush. Again, good senior play right there. Intercepts the pass, carries the ball all the way down, and gives his offense a chance to get a hopefully for them, a prolonged possession.
Hunter Embry seen a good percentage of the ball when Marist's been on the offensive end. Defended by Corey Harris. Embry thrown back post, and an easy goal. 1-2, Jamison Embry.
And now they're saying no goal. They say he was in the crease. Got to be frustrating for they get a really nice look to the backside. And
one Embry to another, but the second Embry was an inch too close. Virginia's going hidden ball again, but this time it won't work. It rarely works twice. Doc Sakin, the man who supposedly had the ball, now he does, and he scores. Well, it works if they completely ignore the guy who's supposed to have it. Doc Sakin, standing in the middle part of the zone, made the most of it, 11-3.
Where you get the hide, no hide play. So, you know, again, some of it's just, you know, a little bit to try to deceive the defense. And again, some of it's just a matter of just working the ball between 2 players. And I don't think there's any doubt that Aiken had the ball, but the defense did not react to him. You know, Laviano takes a fake shot, but there was no question that Aiken had the ball. Unfortunately for McGregor, you can just see the exasperation. Just no pressure on the shooter.
It was almost too obvious. Now Schwenk against Peyton Smith for a second time. Virginia dominating the second quarter, pulling away from the Marist Red Foxes, and a battle of 2 teams in the top 32 of the RPI. Shoveled away by Schwenk. Jama had it, then poked back by Seltz. It's bobbled free, and finally Jared Connors restores order, and Virginia's won another faceoff.
Well, you have to feel a little bit for Peyton Smith. This is 15 face-offs in the first half, you know, 1 after each goal and then the start of each quarter, you know, minus the 1 violation. So, you know, he's already done a full game's work, and it's not even halftime.
He's been able to win some, but it is an unfamiliar situation for him, a player that wins 65% of his faceoffs, to win under 50%.
Well, that's where your wings really have to help you. He's doing a good job of actually keeping the ball alive after the initial whistle, but Virginia's just winning all the wing 50-50 ground balls.
Moore behind for Herring. Back to his right hand. He wanted to go to Doc Zakin, but Doc Zakin was hamstrung by Billy Andrell. The physical defense paying dividends for Marist like it did early in the game.
Yeah, when you throw the ball inside against his defense, they're very effective. They're able to get some stops inside.
Amarato right down the middle. 11-4, and Marist has a goal in the second quarter.
Well, that's the kind of rush that Marist needs. They need somebody just to cake the ball hard and just drive at the Virginia defense, and that's exactly what he was able to do. Again, we talk about a defense being organized. If you can't get your feet set to stop the ball, just like any other sport, you got to stop the ball first. But he does a nice job of just running down the middle of the field. Amarato finishes a big goal for Marist.
Amarato,
yep, and you think about the goal they just lost, and then they give up one. So, you know, that's a 2-goal swing for that could have given Marist a chance to get back within 10-6.
His third shot of the year, but his first goal, I was very excited to get that in.
I'm sure he was excited to get his first goal in, too.
Schwenk and Smith for a 16th battled face-off for Smith, rolling towards the Marist goal, but that provides an advantage to the Red Foxes. It's sent back to McGregor. 15 seconds to get over the midline.
This is where Virginia's going to go ahead and try to put the pressure on, and they do a nice job of reversing the ball, getting it over. Now they've got to beat the pressure at the midline.
Shoveled back. That wasn't necessarily the best idea. Constant was put in trouble, and that trouble cost him the ball. Aviano out with it.
When I talked to Coach Wilkinson yesterday, he said the Virginia ride.
Oh, wide open Fox. He just stayed home, and that's an easy enough goal for John Fox, the sophomore, with his second of the year.
Well, that just talks about how the ride spreads a clearing team out. They're so spread out trying to go ahead and beat the chasers that it leaves them vulnerable at the other end when they lose possession. You know, anytime you lose the ball in a live situation like that, your defense is just 40 or 50 yards away from the goal. There's no way to recover.
McGregor left on an island again. John Fox looked like a practice drill. He was standing right in front of the crease, turned around with plenty of time to shoot. Virginia responds almost instantly to Marist's goal. Peyton Smith trying to win it cleanly. He missed two separate looks at it, and Schwenk gave him a piece of his mind. Virginia hardly losing a step, going with Schwenk from LaSalle. The passes have sharpened up for Marist, though. James Lyons tumbled by Jama, and it's all clean. Jama's knocked the ball away from Lyons, and Connors picks it up. Tough defending, and that's the Virginia ride at its best. Ryan Conrad to Moore, right through the wickets, 13-4.
Second time Virginia has scored goals back-to-back where they've been able to win the ride really in their defensive end, turning the ball over right around the midline, and there's so much distance between the defenders and the clearing team that there's just no way for Marist to recover. You can see Coach Wilkinson thought that Jama may have had a hold at the midline. Wasn't called, and Virginia gets another easy goal.
Great late fake by Moore. Pumps high, goes low. Got McGregor off his feet. LaSalle back out there with Virginia. Two face-off options. Peyton Smith has been toiling by his lonesome for Marist. And the fatigue, it doesn't look like it when you're watching, but the fatigue of these face-offs can really get to you.
Well, the fatigue of the face-offs and the amount of defense that they're playing is got to add up.
And that's why Andrew Evans took his 9th face-off of the year for Marist in that last go. They gave Smith the break.
And now you got a timeout, Virginia.
A minute 28 left, which can be played out in the next shot clock. Virginia can take it to the half and look for one more goal with a 9-goal lead. Did you see it playing out this way?
Well, I thought that Virginia would be able to be able to win the game between the lines, because it would coming in statistically, Marist struggled in both the clearing game and also in the riding game. Now they've done a nice job at beating Virginia twice with their ride, but I wasn't sure what kind of defense Marist would play. And because the zone is really set up to go ahead and keep a team on the perimeter. It's not a takeaway. It's going to be difficult for Marist to go and, get turnovers unless they knock a pass down or get a save, because they're not playing on the ball that hard. So that's probably one thing. I didn't know whether or not Marist would come out and play the zone, and so far, at least in the first half, that's what they've been committed to, is zone defense.
Well, Marist's success on the ride, despite that, the game between the lines has still gone to Virginia, because Marist is clearing at 50% right now, 6 for 12. What does Marist need to do differently when it's clearing the ball? It just seems to get stuck.
Well, what's happening is and a lot of teams do this, obviously, is that they have a face-off unit, and of course they want to, when they do get a face-off, they want to be able to get their offensive or their first midfield group on. And what Virginia's doing is they're forcing them to throw back, and by the time those players come through the box and substitute, Virginia's already set in their ride. And I've seen twice where Marist is running players on the field and they're outnumbered in terms of riders and clearers. So if you throw the ball back to the goalie against Virginia, they're going to pressure you and put your clearing team in a tough situation, because you're also fighting the 20-second clock.
Marist leads the turnover category 11-9, and it's all compounded by the fact that Virginia is shooting over 50%, 23 shots and 13 goals, which is well above what we saw from this Cavaliers team earlier in the season, and bodes well going into the postseason.
Right, and you have to look and see where their shots are coming from, and so many are coming right on top of McGregor, who is an outstanding goalie. Has got a really high save percentage, 57%, but unfortunately he's not been able to see the kind of shots that I'm sure they had hoped the zone would let him see.
If it wasn't for McGregor, the score would be a couple of higher. He's made 2 really good saves in recent memory.
Right, and Virginia is going to take the full time, and these are, we talk about end of game, end of period, things that you practice. See what Virginia tries to run, and right now what, of course, Marist is going to do is push out, try to make them use more time, make more passes.
Virginia looks intent to hold for the last shot.
Only about a 15-second differential.
Moore. Still 23 to wait. Dodges to his left. Matt Moore! Oh, that's highlight reel stuff. Matt Moore. He has been pinpoint accurate today.
Well, and I'm sure if you're in Marist's situation, you're thinking the zone is going to make them have to use more time, and they get beat on the short stick wing with the face dodge by Moore. And it just has to be, again, it's frustrating for that defense, because they were in a good position. They kept Virginia on the outside, forced them to make extra passes, and then Moore's able to get the face dodge.
Schwenk against a returning Peyton Smith. And what will most likely be the last face-off of the first half.
Apparently with 30 seconds, enough time for a score. That's going to be a violation on Smith. That's his first, so both teams with 1 violation.
About to hit the half, so those will reset, but Smith showing signs of frustration.
And then certainly a little bit of fatigue. If you're Marist, that was the one place you knew you were going to be up against a good face-off man in Pete LaSalle, but that was one way you hoped you would be able to control the game and be able to get the possessions with Smith's face-off success in other games.
Down goes Doc Sakin in the face of Roselle. That will give Marist a chance with 5 seconds left. What can Amorato do? He already has 1 goal. He'll lay it off. The shot right at the horn. Decision to be made, and the goal will stand. Jamison Embry slots it top shelf right as the clock goes.
Well, that's a timing situation where it used to be that the ball had to be in the goal before it counted. In this case, the ball is released before the time is out, before the buzzer goes off. It's a go. It's a count.
You can be the judge, but Embry's got the goal. Into the half we go. Clouds are rolling in from over the mountains, but Virginia is still shining bright. 14-5 over the Marist Red Foxes, who scored a buzzer beater, but it has not helped them out thus far. Zealand Shannon alongside national champion Doug Terring. Now, the ACC picture for Virginia is already set. It's the #1 seed. But for the rest of them, it was left to be decided by Notre Dame and North Carolina, and Notre Dame came out on top.
Well, they did, and that was a very important game for both teams because it determines who plays on Thursday and who goes all the way to Saturday. And Notre Dame, by virtue of that big win over Carolina, 12-10, is now in the Saturday game. They will play Duke. And Carolina, unfortunately for them, as the host, will have to play on Thursday versus Syracuse, a 4-5 game.
And the bracket that you've just mentioned is one that a lot of interest is focused on around the lacrosse world. You see the clouds that are rolling in. We hope that doesn't affect proceedings moving forward, but this is going to be a fun tournament.
Well, it really is, and what's interesting now with Notre Dame winning, any of the 5 teams certainly are capable of winning the ACC tournament, but what does the committee do if, say, one of the lower seeds in the ACC wins that tournament? Let's say Carolina and Notre Dame end up in the finals. You're certainly not going to leave out Syracuse, Duke, and Virginia. So five teams in the tournament actually makes it more important to win that Thursday night game.
I would not want to be in the committee's position if one of those behind teams, one of the lower seeded teams, ends up coming out and winning the ACC tournament. But the fans here at Clockner will be hoping that's not the case. The Cavaliers are up big, trying to build momentum to that tournament. Virginia still with a 14-5 lead in Charlottesville over the Marist Red Foxes in the first ever meeting between these two lacrosse programs. Zealand Shannon and Doug Terring once more from the broadcast booth. Well, we were looking forward to one matchup in particular, the face-offs. Advantage P.D. LaSalle.
It has been so far. Virginia's won 12 out of 20, but I think what LaSalle has been able to do is neutralize Smith and be able to get the ball in places where he or his wingmen can win the faceoff. You see the nice job right back there of just pushing it back to his wing, and then the clean wins and getting the ball going forward. So right now, Virginia, both Justin Schwenk and LaSalle have really been able to wear Smith down, and Virginia has gained the advantage there.
It was interesting seeing Schwenk come in and pick up almost where P.D. LaSalle left off. Not winning it necessarily cleanly, definitely helped out by the wing play. In Virginia, obviously, the faceoffs wouldn't matter at all if you can't score after them, and the Cavaliers are on pace for 28 goals, so they're doing just fine when it comes to scoring.
Well, there's 3 things you look at as an offense: is where the shots are coming from, what's the percentage on cage, and are you finishing? And Virginia's getting all 3 of those things putting together. You can just see the shot totals are primarily because they're 12 to 10-yard shots. Any goalie's going to have a tough time making those saves, and the shots are coming from everywhere, and their shots are coming from different players: Moore, Laviano, Conrad. So they've been a really balanced offense and effective scoring.
Even Jack Peel has contributed 2 goals thus far. The second half is moments away between Virginia and Marist. We will see you then. Zealand Shannon and Doug Terring with you. We are a couple of moments away from the start of the second half, but one last look at how we got to a 14-5 scoreline in the first half. Virginia dominating in faceoffs, ground balls, and shot efficiency.
And you can see right there the face-off distance between the 2 teams really set the tone for the whole game, particularly for Virginia's early run when they got up at 1.9-3. They were able to go ahead and extend that lead. The one big goal for Marist at the end of the quarter.
Doc Sakin's been a decisive player for Virginia, and he's always a decisive player for Virginia, really. He knows how to score individual goals, and he knows how to give his team a boost. The all-time leader in a Virginia lacrosse history that stretches back 100 years in goals scored from the midfield.
Well, the one stat that has to be a little bit disconcerting for both teams is turnovers. Marist has 11, Virginia has 10. That's a high total for the first half, and both teams have actually gotten those in the riding game.
Schwenk against Peyton Smith, and Schwenk's gotten the better of him. Again, the wing play making the difference as Schwenk battled it out to the far side.
And I think it's important if you're Virginia to have both face-off men. There's going to be some games where you're going to have multiple numbers of face-offs and high-scoring games. Also, at some point, I don't know when it's going to be, the weather's going to warm up enough that you're going to need that extra endurance for face-off. So it's important that Justin Swank gets some runs against an outstanding face-off man.
That's exactly what Peyton Smith is, and hazard you not to forget that. Peel all the way. An opening in the Marist defense, and Jack Peel all too keen to take advantage. He had 1 goal before today. Now he has 4.
Well, he recognized that he had a little bit of an opening, and even though he's able to stay in his left hand with his hand stick to the inside, he's able to get the good angle and finish right off McGregor's hip.
Again, another tough spot to be. Jake McGregor, the redshirt sophomore, has been on an island in the crease at times, and that's what happens when Marist overextends itself, comes out a little too far. Virginia's able to get inside.
Well, and if you're Virginia, you like the fact that you're seeing some different players step up at a key time of the season. And if you're Marist, it'll be interesting to see whether or not we didn't get a chance to see them even set their defense, whether they're going to stay with the zone or go man-to-man.
Peyton Smith had it, but he's collapsed on enthusiastically by Matt Jama. Tipped away by Jamison Embry, or excuse me, JT Rozelle, and Rozelle is carried into the offensive third for Marist.
Squirt Smith's going to need some help. He certainly is capable of winning face-offs cleanly, but when the ball gets on the ground, he's got to have his wings support him and get those ground balls.
Rozelle answering the call. Marist down 10. Happy to be on the offensive end of the field.
Looking for a hold, got a flag.
John Fox. Gagne, shot saved by Patrick Birkinshaw, who's checked in for Rode. The second attempt skips away from Jamison Embry, who scored the goal at the end of the second quarter. And you were explaining something. It's not necessarily when the ball hits the back of the net, which I do believe was after the horn, but it's when it leaves the stick.
For a long time, it actually had to be in the goal when the time expired, which was awfully tough to see a 90-mile-an-hour shot, whether it broke the plane, which is obviously the goal line. But now it's much like basketball. It's on the release. And I saw Coach Tiffany meet with his defense. He went out and met them at the almost at the box line to show his displeasure that they gave up that late goal. Again, you're always talking about game situations, end of quarters, and that's one he was not very happy with, and give Emory credit for making that full field run and scoring.
Surprisingly enough, Marist has scored the last goal of each of the first 2 quarters.
Right, so Emory finished with literally no time, but the referees confirmed that the shot was released before the horn went off, or as the horn was going off.
Clouds are growing darker, breaking up what was a very sunny day when we started this broadcast. Still 50 to shoot. Saved by Birkinshaw. Submarined in by Weinman, but he couldn't find a hole.
And 2 saves for Birkinshaw early. We know he's an outstanding goalie. Comes with tremendous credentials from the Brunswick School. Won a big game against Princeton. Again, you can always count on hoping to have 2 outstanding goalies, and it's interesting that you got a lefty and a righty as well. So, that sets well for the tournament if Virginia needs to play one or both.
Multiple face-off men, multiple goalkeepers that are ready and blooded. Virginia is sitting pretty when it comes to the depth. Herring testing Tierney. To the middle, Aviano rarely misses from there, but he did.
And look.
Timeout taken on the field with 12:07 left in the third quarter. And Virginia has continued to execute and is well above Marist, the Red Foxes, but the Red Foxes have a lot to play for through the rest of the season, and just like Virginia, as you mentioned in the pregame, are the #1 seed in their conference, the MAC.
Well, I talked to Coach Wilkinson right before the game, and they had an upset in the MAC conference. Manhattan beats Canisius last night, which at the time both teams only had 1 loss in the conference, and now with Canisius's loss they have 2. But the game between the 2 teams coming up next week will ultimately determine the #1 tournament seed. So what you're seeing right now is Marist also obviously wants to be the host, and they want to finish the league 6-1. They are the host, so they are the host, and therefore for Marist, it's a chance to get into the tournament, as we said before, an automatic qualifier. You know, there's 9 conferences, Zealand, and what happens is they have a play-in game between the 2 lowest seeded AQ teams, and that gets the tournament to 16, and then they play. So it's a Wednesday and then the full Saturday, Sunday of all 16 teams playing in the first round of the NCAA tournament. And if you're Virginia, what you're looking at, of course, is finishing the ACC tournament strong and getting to host a first-round game on the first weekend.
Marist does not have to go through quite the gauntlet Virginia does in order to hoist a conference trophy, but you start your season every year trying to win the conference trophy, and Marist will be able to host its conference tournament, which is a 4-team affair like the ACC was up until this year.
Well, and we know, I think the MAC is a 1-bid league, so it's critical to win that MAC tournament to get into the NCAA.
Look forward to a potential Marist Canisius matchup in the final to settle things. Moore to his right hand over in the game, just for the sake really of shameless self-promotion. The game will be on ESPNU, the title game. What a save again from McGregor.
Yep. And what we're seeing now looks like Marist has gone back to probably a defense that they played most of the year. They're starting the second half in a man-to-man.
Virginia able to conjure a second possession, which is something that has plagued Marist. Laviano is still down. He took a whack and doesn't seem to be exactly 100%. He's shaking out the left arm.
Yeah, to have taken a shot on the hand or the wrist. Certainly don't want to, again, anytime you cut it on the crease, you are going to take some checks inside.
Speaking of ESPNU, Marist's road trip to Canisius to end the regular season will also be on that channel. And, well, Laviano, he's hurt, but it doesn't mean he still can't score.
Well, that's a situation where he catches the ball and shoots, but he's taking himself immediately out of the game and going to the sideline.
He's in discomfort, to say the least, but when the smell of goals is down, Laviano has to answer the call.
Yeah, it looks like with his glove off that he must have taken a shot on the wrist or the hand on a check. And
Laviano, that the creativity that he has catching and shooting, almost second to none.
There was a flag down, but it must have been a push or a technical foul because we're seeing that it was waved off.
Laviano being looked at on the sideline as Peyton Smith and Justin Schwenk seem locked in perpetual combat. It's fished out by Teo Dahl, and he has a taste for more. Dahl ripping forward, saved by McGregor. What a hit on Xander Dixon to keep him off the goal line. Ralph Sommer announcing his presence. He's prone to do that from time to time.
No, that's exactly what you want to see out of your defense, and you want to protect your goalkeeper. And Sommer does a great job legally of clearing the crease. You don't see that much in the game anymore, that kind of contact around the crease area. That was a good legal hit, and he saved a goal.
Xander Dixon, for all of his talent, is just 6'1", 160. Sommer's got 2 inches and 40 pounds on him and disposed him rather comfortably. Maloney running at Lyons, thrown behind Herring is somersaulting. And Ralph Sommer will finish off a solid defensive possession for himself.
And we'll see what adjustment Marist has made in their clearing game as well. They struggled. And this is what you can't do in the 20-second clock is to get a bobble or a drop, and they were fortunate they made the pass, and now they're still getting doubled.
Lyons able to battle his way through 2 defenders. Not easy defenders to get through in Jeff Connor and Cade Sousted, but he's maintained possession only to concede it a few moments later.
And offsides, again, they make the right pass, they're able to clear it, but either someone stepped over from the backside, but once again, their defense not set, have to restart, and an easy goal for Virginia.
Xander Dixon tucking it under the crossbar. It was only a matter of time until he showed up, floated as far away from Ralph Sommer as possible, and then slotted it home.
Well, it always starts with the ride if you're able to get a turnover, and that's exactly what happened. They were in a situation where it looked like they had it clear. They had to drop the ball between their strang line and the midline, and Virginia practices so much in their ride and restart game, and they're able to get about the third goal of the game, Zealand, where they've been able to get the ride turnover and get a quick goal in transition.
Schwenk is getting quite the run of faceoffs against Peyton Smith. Started about halfway through the second quarter, and they have been locked in battle again. Flip towards the far side. Virginia had 2-1, but Peyton Smith has slipped over and collected the ball for faceoff win, and Seltz is going to try and press the advantage. But he has it stripped away from behind by Griffin Spolansky.
And again, one of the seniors, like Dahl and Jama and a number of the seniors at Pisani that are having a nice day today on their, I'm sure they're hoping not their last home game. They're hoping to be able to host the ACC tournament game and an NCAA game.
Both very much possible. Now it is Virginia that will be hosting as the #1 seed if it can make the championship game. The first couple rounds at Chapel Hill.
I'm not sure there's a conference tournament this year that has, all the conference teams capable of getting into the tournament. Okay.
McGregor. The outlet, big collision was on the way. Doc Zakin, but Seltz survived him.
Well, and you could see Aiken actually lit up a little bit, which was a smart play. If he had finished that hit, it was just high enough that he could have easily been called for a high hit, but he kind of laid off a little bit and really didn't make full contact. And sometimes that was the smart play right there, because again, the officiating emphasis is always on the head and shoulder contact.
The oohs and ahs from the crowd, more from the build-up to the hit than the actual hit itself. Hunter Embry.
Well, last year, Aiken and Krause had a tremendous collision in the ACC tournament final against Notre Dame last year.
Nothing gets a crowd going quite like goals or big hits.
And
Michael Smith.
You don't see many big hits in the game anymore. Most of the old guard will tell you that the game, obviously for safety reason, but you don't see the big collisions in lacrosse that you used to see.
Saustad took it away from Jamison Embry in retaliation for his buzzer-beating goal in the second quarter. And Virginia, with a 17-5 lead, has the ball. Laviano, good sign for Virginia fans, back out there to complete the clear.
And as I said, Marist is more comfortable riding deep, giving Virginia all that space between the midline and really the goal line, whereas Virginia likes to push up and try to create the turnovers at the midline.
Peel has had himself a career day.
All straight man-to-man for Marist.
A break out of the zone we've seen for the majority of the game. To Aiken, slips to the middle. Dox Aiken! Slippery as ever. And another goal for the all-time leader in midfield goals in a Virginia uniform, Dox Aiken.
Well, getting closer and closer to that 100-goal mark.
He is something else, and so is Virginia. In control when we come. ESPN and the ACC bring you ACC Network coming August 2019. 15 universities all on one network. Visit getaccn.com to learn more. It's going to be a very exciting time for a conference with 5 very good men's lacrosse schools and women's lacrosse schools. 8 of them both headed to their conference tournaments soon enough. But before that, Virginia has to finish off its game with Marist, which has gone swimming.
Well, it really has. And again, Virginia's been able to get the quick goals early in the game. That's how you establish your ability to separate, and that's been a big key. And, of course, it comes back to the numbers that we showed on the early face-offs wins by both Justin Schwenk and Peter Sala.
Schwenk battling with Peyton Smith, a matchup with LaSalle and Smith we were very excited to see. Peyton Smith has won it, dropped to his knees, but found JT Roselle for complete possession.
Well, there's no doubt in watching Peyton Smith face off is that he is certainly capable of dominating the X. I mean, he's been challenged today, but you can see he's still in the mix. He just wins a clean face-off, and so when they get into their game next week with Canisius and into their conference tournament, he's going to be a major factor.
He's a difference maker at this level. You can imagine what he can do playing against MAC competition on a weekly basis.
Well, so much about it is matchups. I mean, there's certainly teams out there that, may in some ways, have more impressive overall records and coming from stronger conferences. But someone who's dominant as he can be, he can make a big difference in an NCAA tournament game.
Tierney, no-look crossfield pass, got Gagne, but Gagne fell over, and that is blood in the water for the Virginia defense. Kaloji shoveled up to Matt Moore, and Virginia clears in a flash.
The unfortunate for Gagne, he looked like he was going to go ahead and be able to gain a step, but probably the field's still a little soft. Heavy rain last night in Charlottesville, and we're getting a nice over-the-top look. They do a nice job of reading slides and making the skip pass. They got 2 of those early goals from Wiseman on that same kind of a look.
Maloney drops step to his right hand. Maloney bounces it off the post. Out to Moore. Virginia still looking. Reset the shot clock. Xander Dixon with the quick feet in front. Maloney couldn't get a handle on it. That one will do nothing to reset the clock, but Virginia's still at a minute.
Yeah, that first shot that Maloney hit the pipe gave them a chance to really take their time and reset the whole offense and get the look they want to get.
Maloney just has 1 goal this year. Those are 2 of the better looks he's had in the campaign, trying to challenge Lions, but he dropped the ball, and now he's met by Sirocco. Survives. Just inside 40 to shoot. Connor on for Herring.
And it seems in the man-to-man that Marist is doing a better job of recovering in unsettled situations than they were playing in the zone. They were able to get their matchups quicker.
Big hit from Maloney on Algrim.
Certainly a question of whether or not that was high. I can see the staff for Marist quite unhappy with the contact and where it occurred.
Another turnover, though. Jack Simmons collected. Marist is playing dogged defense, really coming after Virginia, staying active, getting involved, but can't seem to convert the defense into an offensive possession at all. Maloney will shoot, saved. And what a save it was by Kevin McKendry. Only played 9 minutes all year, but he has come in for McGregor to spell the starting goalkeeper late in this one.
And they had a pass that was missed, but excellent follow-up. I reckon he's able to go ahead and pick up the ground ball. You can see that one of the things Marist is trying to do is trying to throw a pass through that first line of Virginia Riders and get it down to their attack. Sometimes they've been successful, and sometimes Virginia's been able to pick it off and turn it into a transition.
Did seem like it was the game plan early to throw the ball long and battle for it in the offensive area. Birkinshaw saves comfortably enough and looks to start a counterattack. Picked by Will Rock with skill. The pole, Rock rampaging, but he's slowed. Gives it off for Fox, and John Fox has 2.
Well, that's a play where you have your defensive midfield execute from goal line to goal line. Patrick Birkinshaw makes an excellent save. He saves the ball low. He's able to control it clean. He gets a nice pass. Will Rock gets a convenient bounce at the middle of the field, and now you've got a 3-on-2, and you've got a pole feeding a short stick defensive midfielder for a goal by John Fox, his 2nd of the game.
Had to pay for it, ran right into Ralph Sommer, and we know what that senior can do. And it didn't matter for Fox. Nothing makes up for getting hit like scoring a goal. 19-5 Virginia in the 3rd. John Fox had 1 goal all year coming in, just like Jack Peel, and both have at least 2 now in this game.
Well, we talk about the importance of goalie saves and controls, and that's exactly what Birkinshaw was able to do. He's able to make the low save and get it up and out to Will Rock and start the transition goal.
Into the face-off, Peyton Smith and Justin Schwenk. Schwenk has won the battle, but he's not won the war quite yet. Had it poked away by Roselle, and then it's collected by Algrim. McKendry slips one. a little more comfortable or faster at least on the ball than McGregor.
Excellent clear right there. And it all start with Algrim pushing the ball up the field, going ahead and making space. And now you've got a penalty situation. Virginia may have been offsides.
Lars Tiffany is asking what the call is.
They're trying to point and say, maybe their third guy was back behind the play. But give Marist credit, they drew the foul by getting the ball up quickly and getting it out.
So Virginia is going to send Connor back on. That was a conversation happening on the Cavalier bench as to whether it was an offside and whether you would be able to send a 7th down.
Now the question is, can Marist maybe draw an extra foul as long as they have the ball and they turn it over?
James Lyons toppled by Corey Harris. So the extra man opportunity, the first for the Marist Red Foxes with 76 seconds left in the third quarter. It'll be 30 seconds long, and Marist has scored 2 goals since the first quarter and has not scored in the second half. But it's just about their time to score here with the clock running out.
Well, and if we talk about how this game affects both teams going forward, and certainly for Marist, every opportunity to execute, whether it's man up, man down, their defenses, it's all positive. Talking to Coach Wilkinson, he realizes that, for them, this is an important game and not like a preseason game, but it's an important learning game against outstanding competition that he thinks is going to help his team going forward.
Sharp ball movement, but they need a shooting window. 7 seconds left. They get it, but it's saved by Birkinshaw. Weinman had 2 early, but he has not been able to convert since.
Yeah, Birkinshaw reading the shooter very well. Again, from that shooter's wing, able to go ahead and follow the flight of the ball, makes a clean save.
Pisani hassled by Moyet. It's been a good showing from Pisani on his senior day. It's been a good showing from the seniors. See, Ryan Lamb's made his way back out there. The Cavaliers have made some wholesale changes to the offensive side. Peel back for Xander Dixon. To Peel, trying to open up his left hand, and he flubs it in. Jack Peel for his 4th goal of the game. Stick was hit mid-motion, but he followed through.
Yeah, a little bit of a change-up for the goalie. He expects probably the shot to be harder, and because of the check, it loses some speed, and he may have overreacted to the speed of the shot, and it goes right by. A tough one right there, because again, you're expecting the ball to get on top of you a lot quicker than maybe the shot release.
McKendry frustrated with himself. And Virginia is the one that scores the late goal in the third quarter. 6 goals to no reply for Virginia in quarter number 3 to stretch it to 20-5. And a face-off to pad somebody's stats between Schwenk and Smith.
Well, I got to give Peyton Smith credit. He's been a warrior today, taking all but maybe 1 face-off.
He's taken all but exactly 1 face-off for Marist, and he won another one, but it's 25 Virginia to the 4th. Marist defense is its strength, but it hasn't been today. They average allowing under 10 per game, but Virginia had 20 after 3.
Well, they've had a very demanding schedule, and they have played another ACC team. They played Carolina earlier in the year and lost 17-5, but if you take those numbers plus Virginia's game out, they have had an excellent defensive year, and we talked about the 3 senior defenders and McGregor in the goal. So, for their overall season, defense has been a strength, and again, they're facing an outstanding offensive team. As I talked to Coach Keegan Wilson before the game, he was very aware that Virginia was as good, if not the best offensive team they were going to play so far in this season.
Schwenks won the face-off for the Cavaliers.
I'm sure that one place he had hoped that he could be able to control the Virginia offense was at the face-off, and that has been a place that Virginia has been very dominant, both with Justin Schwenk, who's had a very, very productive day at the X, as well as we haven't really seen Pete LaSalle much in the second half. It's been all Justin Schwenk.
It has been exclusively Schwenk in the second, and he took really most of the second quarter as well. So the highlight matchup that we were hoping to see more of, we didn't get to see a lot of, but Schwenk has taken at least 50% off of Smith as well.
You know, if you're Marist going into your tournament, the one area that you need to certainly improve is their clearing. They've had only 11 successful clears out of 18 attempts. That is so critical in tournament play anytime, but certainly in terms of possessions. That's 7 lost possessions right there, not including the number of face-offs they've lost.
Gordon inside 20 to shoot. He will submarine one in the general direction. That won't produce much.
You know, and if you're both coaches, you also look at, you know, how you want this game to play out in terms of the future of your season. Big shot right there
Jack
by
Simmons.
Big shot, overhand left hand.
That is something he's capable of, but you don't get to see him try it a lot.
Well, he's again one of these freshmen who has earned his time, along with Jeff Connor. And one thing again that Virginia's done all day extremely well is on cage percentages. You know, the goalies have made some nice saves from Marist, but in most cases, Virginia's had probably as accurate a shooting day as I've seen them have all season against a quality opponent.
39 total shots with the 21 goals. Jack Simmons taking advantage of a late clock to show off his distance. 3rd goal of the season and his career. Clean win this time for the number 2 faceoff taker for Marist, Andrew Evans, but he had the ball just momentarily, pushed the tempo a little too much.
Yeah, he did what a lot of faceoff men will do. They will carry inside the box, so to speak, and sometimes you get inside the defense and you don't really have a place to throw the ball, and so he got a little bit of a trail check right there and turns it over.
Lamb able to power his way into the zone against a smaller Anthony Filippetti, who's just 5'8", 165. You wonder if it'll be Evans the rest of the way for Marist to give Smith a well-deserved rest.
Well, you want to compete, you want your players to play, but you also know you need to protect your top players with next week for both teams. So critical.
For Virginia, the start of the ACC tournament. For Marist, the game at Canisius on ESPNU to settle the number 1 seed in the conference tournament. Shot on goal, saved by McKendry. Forced by Rodriguez.
Nice save, nice defense right there.
Turned over though, snagged by Peel, looks to shoot, then lays off to Pisani, who has 2 goals on senior day.
And another broken clear. You make a nice save, he makes the right save, makes the right pass, and they turn it right back to Virginia. And it's not only the number of turnovers in the riding game, but so much where those turnovers occur. And right in the middle, 12, 15 yards outside the box, 1 pass and a goal.
See the frustration for James Sirocco, the senior defender from Wisconsin, New York, was not happy with his defense, with the lack of soundness on the ball for the Marist Red Foxes. They knew they were going to be up against it, but this is a team feeling some momentum on a high with 3 straight wins under its belt, looking to make a statement, and that statement hasn't quite been made for Marist, as Virginia has been in cruise control since the 2nd quarter.
And we always talk about, the middle third of the field being the place where games are won and lost, but between the restraining lines, not necessarily at each end. And this is where Virginia has been able to win the game at the face-off X and in the riding game.
Bruegel against Evans took about 5 hours for the ball to come out. It's Evans who's won 2 straight face-offs.
And Jay Bruegel had a nice game against VMI on Tuesday. A large percentage of wins right there. So again, rewarding all your players with playing time.
Saying that some from both sides now. Tierney attacking Pride. Gagne keeps it moving. Far out handle for Jojo Pereka. Heavy collision between Teo Dahl and James Lyons. Still 40 to shoot almost.
Good patience, good ball movement. Excellent move right there, and a nice save by Birkinshaw.
Just a quick slip from James Lyons. Birkinshaw hobbled wherever he got hit with that last ball. I believe it was in the upper thigh, and Birkinshaw is feeling it. And the bench is asking if Birkinshaw's okay, as Virginia has spoiled its own offensive possession. Filippetti is headed the other direction, and Marist will slow things down as Birkinshaw limps back between the pipes.
Well, that's one of the vulnerable spots for any goalie is right at the top of their side. Some of them may put a pad or a football type pad in their pants, but looks like that's a place that will really leave a mark, so to speak, on the top of the thighs. Really can cripple you for at least a couple of minutes. But he seems to be moving better.
Better, but certainly not okay. Birkinshaw smiling through the pain. Plenty of time to shoot. Marist zipping the ball around.
Great catch right by Emery right there.
And the behind-the-back pass to Weinman, who scores. And Marist down 22-5, able to turn on the style. Embry to Weinman, who has a hat trick.
Well, Emery makes a really nice catch on a low pass. He's able to go ahead and catch it, and you can see right there, he kind of gives a backhand look. And we talked about Weinman's ability to finish. He has the first 2 goals of the game. He takes the check in traffic and is able to finish for his 3rd goal of the game.
3 goals on 6 shots for Weinman, and he had to look at his stick to make sure he had the ball before shooting. Wasn't sure in the crowd.
Yeah, that's a nice combination right there. You have the freshman feeding the sophomore, so they're going to have a couple more years together, and that young Marist attack is only going to get better.
Bruegel against Evans. Bruegel hadn't won one yet. He had it for a second. Now all of a sudden he's on top of Filippetti's stick. Virginia has the ball. Will Rock to the middle. Snap play. McKendry shuts the door.
Great save. Great stick-on-stick save. And another throwaway when they looked like they have a chance for transition and a clear.
Greco, no dice. We've seen Birkinshaw removed from the game. They've gone back to William Hudson, who started the game as the senior goalkeeper of the bunch. He's played the 3rd most out of the 3.
Yeah, Griffin Thompson's been nursing an injury.
Seen Hudson, this is 5th game played, first start. He allowed 1 goal and didn't make a save before being removed quickly early on. Marist scored the first goal of the game, but that feels quite a long time ago. Virginia will work it inside 40.
Jeff Connor, Maloney using his size. He's very, very compact and very strong. Is able just to go ahead and literally do what they call the bull dodge, just being able to run through the defender. You have to slide to someone like that. He's going to go ahead and be a tough matchup.
Another shot, this one from Rodriguez. Same result. Birkinshaw's headed to the locker room, but he is moving under his own power. Virginia number 2 keeper. Single digits to shoot this one. Gordon saved again by McKendry.
Yeah, McKendry's had a nice sequence of saves.
He's in trouble though. Xander Dixon shoots over everything. Possession goes to Virginia, but a very frustrated reaction from Keegan Wilkinson and his coaching staff. Thought that might have been Marist's ball.
Well, ground balls 51-27, and Virginia's right now ranked nationally #1 with 42.1 ground balls per game. Not surprising that Virginia is able to dominate on ground balls. They are the best in the country.
Of course, faceoffs help, but Virginia's only up 17-14 in that account. Cavaliers' ability to win every 50-50 ball. It's something Lars Tiffany stresses.
Well, it is. It's wing play on the faceoff wins, but also it's the ground balls, and particularly in the riding game. Virginia's picked up a number of loose balls by turning over Marist in the ride.
Gordon forced it, but Jack Simmons is able to win the possession. Just recently, the Cavaliers have gone to shooting under 50%, 47 shots, 22 goals, but a performance that bodes well.
Yeah, but I think the more important stat is 32 shots on cage and 22 goals. That's the stat. If you're an offensive coordinator, that's what you look at. Are we putting the ball on the cage? Are we making the goalie make saves?
Xander Dixon tap in front. How do you like that hit right through the back?
That's a goal saver right there. If you're going to do a loose ball push, means the defense gets to get reorganized, and they have to take the ball outside the box. So there are times where a loose ball push is a good play.
Billy Undrell taking no prisoners. 5'11", 210-pound redshirt senior, part of the experienced core of this Marist defense.
I think Marist defense is obviously giving up a lot of goals inside, and that was one time that Andrell was going to make sure nobody scored off the crease.
Gordon. A spin to his left hand. He's been trying to create space, but Andrell has stayed with him. There's plenty of time to shoot. Connor was sizing it up anyways. Dropped by Simmons, and he'll have company from Sirocco.
You know, interesting that Marist would have come out and played zone for the first half, and is often the case. You get the impression that they're more of a man-to-man team because they seem to be much more active on the ball, much more aggressive playing one-on-one, and they have good slide packages. So, you know, sometimes when you come out and play zone, you lose a little bit of that aggression.
Perhaps a case of trying to over-adjust for the opponent.
Well, again, it still doesn't hurt to play it. I credit Coach Wilkinson for putting, you know, I don't know how much zone they've obviously played during the course of the year, but, you know, it's a chance for them to work on a defense that I'm sure they're going to need during the course of the season and the playoffs.
Sam Algram able to cause a turnover, and Marist gets an offensive possession out of it with a quick and successful clear. Wyatt Colangelo had an open run.
Man, I've seen a lot of teams using both defenses effectively.
Perhaps this a baptism by fire for the zone defense of Marist, maybe needing it later on the line in the MAC season. As a shot skips away. Kyle Dizon with his first attempt of the game. Snap to the left hand for Colin Dizon. The Dysons have made their appearance for Marist inside the final six. Embry bodied away by Maloney, who is just a tank of a human being.
You know, it's a real nice, you know, again, the Virginia defense very active in the off-ball slide. They will, you know, if you turn your back on Virginia on the defense, if they like to come and attack, particularly on a roll dive, they like to come and get that quick double.
We've seen Maloney test Marist with his physicality a couple of times. There aren't many midfielders wider than Maloney, 6 foot, 220 pounds.
And he knows how to use his size. He likes to get in tight on a defender, take away the length of his stick, and go ahead and use his power to dodge.
Peel has had a heck of a game. He scored a couple early and is on 4. Only had 1 goal all season coming in. Pisani has 2. Thinking about going for 3. Off to Lamb. Forced to back out by Sirocco.
Sirocco, again, he seems to be the most active and defender. He does a real nice job of sliding. He and Summer really protect that crease area. You can tell they're experienced defenders.
Filippetti causing some problems. Lamb has a long way to go to collect, and Sirocco's still waiting for him. Chuck towards the back post. Speculative look for Dixon, but he had to force it. And now Marist with a chance to move.
Yeah, they defended through the whole sequence and were really forced Virginia just to throw the ball at the goal with only 3 seconds on the shot clock.
Inside the final 4 minutes, what are you looking for out of Marist?
I think mainly for both teams, get through and stay healthy. I think both teams are in a situation where they want to make sure that they are at their peak physically going into next week. This is a situation where probably a lot of these players may not get a lot of playing time for the rest of the season. So for the seniors for Virginia and the young players for Marist, good opportunity.
Ball keeps moving. Rodriguez stopped again by McKendry, who's given a very good account of himself. He's more than doubling his playing time in this game.
He has played well, and I think part of it is because his defense seems to be more comfortable in what they're doing, and he's been able to step up and make some saves for him. And also he's maybe a little more active than McGregor was in the clearing game, and therefore he was carrying the ball through the Virginia ride.
Thrown long, a hopeful pass that Will Rock could wait for.
And that may be the maybe the 10th or 11th turnover in the clearing game for Marist today.
Wayward shot by Ryan Pride, just his second of the season. Doesn't get too many looks, Ryan Pride. You can't blame him for trying. Connor holds up. Virginia will need no urgency for the rest of this game. An impressive, thorough performance, winning each quarter, the closest of which, besides a fourth quarter that's seen only 3 goals and Virginia has 2 of them, was the first quarter where it was 6-3 at the end of it. Marist was still within a shout. Rodriguez spins away with a ground ball, and you could hear the whack from here.
Right, it must have been a moving pick.
Colangelo, for the second time, will take the far alley to finish a clear, as Marist makes a tidal wave of changes to match Virginia's in this game. Exactly the kind of game that you want if you're a senior for Virginia. And this is a senior class for the Cavaliers that has been through a lot and seen it all.
Yeah, it's 11 on the field, and Cooper Ferguson, who's been helping out as an assistant coach. You always talk about leadership and the value of seniors, particularly in transitions, with coaching staffs. And these seniors have certainly, helped with that transition. They've certainly supported Coach Tiffany, as well as they are certainly loyal to Coach Darja. So, this senior class has moved this team each season into a place of potential, a championship type season. So credit to these 11 young men and what they've done. And I'm sure the same thing for the seniors at Marist. Getting them to a #1 seed and a chance to qualify for an NCAA tournament with a tournament win coming up in 2 weeks. So both senior classes, very important to the success of their programs.
You can ask from a class is to improve the team every year, and that's what Virginia's has done. And Marist has turned itself into a top-level MAC program. Some hefty hitting from the Virginia defense causes a turnover eventually, but Marist hanging tough.
Well, and when I talked to Coach Wilkinson, he talked about his seniors and how much they've meant to this team, particularly if we talked about with a young offensive group. If you look at their overall roster and their first line depth, it's mainly freshmen and sophomores, and at the defensive end, the 3 seniors. So, he feels like that's the leadership that has put them in the position to be the #1 team in the MAC with a chance to win it outright next week.
Virginia does not need to shoot again. The final 30 seconds will pass without consequence. Virginia ends with 58 ground balls, won the face-off battle 17-14. Marist only cleared 14 of 24. 50 shots, 32 on goal, and 22 goals for Virginia, led by Doc Sakin and Jack Peel with 4. What do you make of this one?
Well, the regular season is over, and now the stakes can't be any higher than tournament lacrosse for both programs.
One more game in the regular season for Marist, a road trip to Canisius you can catch on ESPNU. Virginia is headed to the ACC tournament as the #1 seed after a 22-6 win here this afternoon.